Today. How are you today? I hope you enjoyed your long weekend. See, muy bien. Maybe catch up on some sleep and all of that. Okay. So behind me, and I'm going to have to get out of the way for this one. So let me get out of the way. While we wait for everybody else to log in, you guys, take a look at the tree behind me. Okay. ¿Cómo se llama? Oh, I don't know that. I'll have to look into that. Clase, ¿cómo se llama el primo de Mirabel? ¿Cómo se llama el primo de Mirabel? Let's see if we can remember our vocab. ¿Cómo se llama? Right? What is the name of? And that's what I'm going to give you today. El primo de Mirabel. Hola, Belle. Hola a todos. You guys all came in at once today. How are you today? Good answer, Ray. Good answer. Okay, you guys, so I'm standing out of the way on purpose, or I'm trying to get out of the way on purpose, right? ¿Cómo se llama el primo de Mirabel? Hola, Elijah, Jamarian, Kinsley, Malik, buenos dias. Buenos dias, Ray, Trevon. Okay, be careful. El primo is what I'm looking for. El primo. So who is el primo? Good, Belle. So notice el primo is singular, right? I'm looking for one person. Hi, Trayvon. How are you? Good, Andrea. You're absolutely right. Hola, Kendall. Clase, ¿cómo se llama? What is the name of? El primo de Mirabel. So you got to look at the chart. So Mirabel is where's Mirabel? According to me, she's good. Backward. Way over here in the corner, right? I have to move. My arm's not that long. So there's Mirabel, right? So, ¿cómo se llama el primo de Mirabel? ¿Cómo se llama? What is the name of el primo? You're right, Trayvon. But ¿cómo se llama? Good, Elijah. What is the name of el primo de Mirabel? Ooh, got to get our little gray cells woken up today, huh? Yep. So, ¿cómo se llama? What's his name? ¿Cómo se llama? Hola, Ethan. So I'm standing out of the way so you guys, we can try to answer this question in the chat. ¿Cómo se llama el primo de Mirabel? Just pop it in the chat. What's his name? ¿Cómo se llama? Come on, I need to hear from everyone. Hola, Arshad. Kindle, ¿cómo se llama? Malik, did you answer the question? ¿Cómo se llama el primo de Mirabel? Good, Kendall. Joe Marion, ¿cómo se llama? El primo. We're going to get started here in just a second. Hola, Bernadette. So el primo is singular, right? So it can only be one. It's not los primos, it's el primo. So which is it? Gotta make a choice. Right? See, that's the thing. Yeah. We have gender to always think about. Hola, Michaela. Hola, Madison. El primo is singular and masculine. So which one are we referring to? ¿Cómo se llama? What is the name of? El primo de Mirabel. Yeah. Yes. Mhm. Last person in, I think. Bueno, clase. So I have, what is the name of Mirabel's cousin, right? So again, I gotta stand way out of the way, which means I can't really see anything. But this person I think is, let me see, I can't even see that, you guys, myself anymore. Is it Camilo or Antonio? Is it Camila? I thought it was just Antonio. Dolores is a girl, so it wouldn't be that because it's El Primo. Can you guys see that better than me right now? Is there an Antonio or a Camilo? Which is it? It's both. Okay. Yeah. So if it's okay, there's two boys. Okay. So because I thought it was Camila was a girl, but that's okay. It's Camilo, and we're sure of that. So if it's Camilo, then it's either one, right? It's either Antonio or Camilo, right? I thought Camila. I thought it was a female. My bad, right? So either which way, right? So we needed a male cousin, right? So either Camilo or Antonio, I think, right? Bueno, so how was your weekend? Long weekend. I hope you guys had a good time. Hope you were able to do some things that you wanted to do, right? You guys, we have so much to do today. Yes, indeed. By the way, tomorrow is progress reports. So I am going to give us some time today for any of us who maybe need to get some work done. Okay. Oh, good job, Trayvon. Did you have fun? Because that's what's important. Very good. Thank you, Shamar. Okay, clase. Hoy es martes el 12 noviembre, right? The 12th of November. Remember how they write the dates, right? With the day first and then the month. Y vamos a conocer los pronombres personales. You guys, this is such an important day today. And the next week or two are going to be like, this is it. Like, if you struggle with this, you need to speak up as we go. Okay. Because if we don't get this, okay, if we can't wrap our brains around what we're going to do here for the next week or two, the whole rest of the school year is going to be that much more challenging. We don't want that, right? So as we work through our class periods, you guys know, you can always tell me IDK, right, in the chat box. That's a legitimate answer because that's giving me feedback, right? I need you to tell me, can you repeat that, please? I need you to tell me to slow down or speed up or whatever it is. You really need to talk to me in the next 2 weeks because I do not want you to struggle for the rest of the school year. Okay. We need to take whatever time we need to take on these personal pronouns so that we have a strong foundation to build on. Okay. So we know, you guys, when we speak in English, I mean, in any language, of course, that, sentences are made up of multiple things, right? But every sentence, or almost every sentence, is going to need an action, a verb, right? Eating, sleeping, jumping, running, whatever, breathing, living, being, whatever, right? Thinking. All of those things are actions. And if we don't get what we're going to be doing for the next 2 weeks, we are not ever going to be able to understand how to use an action word in Spanish. I mean, it is that basic, okay? But it is that foundational as well. So I'm really going to be haunting you for the next couple of weeks for feedback. I need to know what you know. So IDK is definitely a legit answer all the time, but especially now, or tell me to go slow or whatever. Okay. So be prepared for the next couple of weeks. Brain focusing, right? We're focusing. Okay. On Thursday, I would like for us to take a short quiz on our vocabulary, which was about the familia, right? Cousins, uncles, aunts, brothers, sisters, etc. So what I would like to do today is this. If you guys are note takers, I would recommend you get out your notes, you get yourself organized. However you do it, on paper, on a document, whatever. If you are not a note taker, I would encourage you to find a way to make sure that you, other than, unless you want to use the YouTube playlist, which is fine, to make yourself some notes, some way, somehow, some kind of reference material, okay, that you can use. All right. So while I get my screen ready, I would like for you to get yourself organized. Okay. So get your notes ready if you're a note taker, however you do it. If you're not a note taker, I don't know. How do you get organized? I'll leave that up to you, whatever works for you. Okay. All right. Let's see. I still have all my snorty kind of crud. So I apologize for that. Okay. Nevaeh, I need to have you try to connect to GoGuardian if you can. Okay. All right, give me a sec. All right, so on Thursday, short quiz, we'll start here. Short quiz on La Familia vocabulary, okay? So I'm going to share my screen. Guys, take a look at my screen here in just a sec. Let me go to the student view. It's probably easier. So just to remember, we are in Unidad Uno, which is Mexico. And for our familia, we have these vocabulary slides that you can look at here. La Familia, okay, to help you study with. We also, I think I put it in the library. Did I? Yes. So in the library, you guys, there's also down here, Los Parientes. So you have all of that. And then you have the copy of the slides also in the library if that makes it easier for you to access. So you do have those to help you study with if you didn't take notes. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do real quick, 5 minutes. Okay. Unless you guys have a question, and remember to pop it in the chat. You know, I don't like surprises. So I'm going to show you. Okay. I'm going to show you the actual quiz and what it's going to look like for Thursday. Okay. Okay. So here it is. So this will be Thursday. Read the instructions before submitting. No notes, no modules or online resources are to be used. You will have 3 attempts, right? So the first question, check it out. What is the word for pet? How do you say siblings? What is the word for dog, relatives, cat, and parents? Okay, I'm saying this is short and sweet, you guys. Okay, write the Spanish for these words as you learn them. What is the word for brother? What is the word for mother? You will have to type these in. Now, before you freak out, go, oh, man, spelling, I can't spell, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I will always go back in and manually grade it. So all I'm asking of you is to do the best job you can in your spelling. Try to convey to me that you know the word. Okay, you will not be counted wrong for spelling unless I just can't recognize the word at all. Okay, so any questions about spelling? Okay, so just know to do your best on your spelling. I will go back in and manually grade it. Okay. All right, so that'll be Thursday. So make sure that you're looking at not only what they mean, but how to spell them as best you can. Okay. All right. Okay. We're going to switch gears. In today's class, you guys, we're going to talk about English. We're not even going to talk about Spanish. Because if we can wrap our brain around what is this we need to do in English, we're going to take it and then transfer it all over to Spanish. Okay? Make sense? I hope. So the first thing I have for you is a visual. Okay? And you guys are going to help me with this visual. So I need everybody to stop doing whatever they're doing. I need everybody to focus on my screen. Okay? Because again, if you miss any of this, you are going to be lost all school year long. We do not want that. Okay? So I have this old visual here. And let's look at our question. Am I talking to someone? Okay. Or am I talking about someone or something? Okay. Yeah, Velma. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So our question is, are we talking to someone or are we talking about someone? Okay. So in English, that's all we really have to worry about. Are we talking to somebody or about somebody? In other words, if we're talking to somebody, I'm going to say, hey, you, right? Hey, you, Bob, right? Are you going to the store, right? If I'm talking about somebody in English, I can say, oh, Bob, yeah, he's going to the store. Okay. So in English, that's all we have to worry about if we're talking to or about them. But in Spanish, obviously, we're going to have other things to think about. Okay. We got to think about masculine and feminine. We got to think about singular and plural. We got to think about, are we talking to them or about them? We got to think about, is it my friend I'm talking to or somebody I don't know? So there's all these other things in Spanish, right, that we have to consider. But for today, we're going to think about English because we're going to try and help us figure some stuff out. Okay. All right. So let's look at this first picture. I'm on number 1. And he's looking at her and pointing at her. So tell me in the chat, is he talking to or about her? To or about? in number 1? You can just put to or about. You can put T or A. I don't care. To or about, whichever. Keep it coming. I need to hear from everybody. Everybody needs to be focused on my screen. Good. Good. Yes. He is talking to her. How do we know that? Because he's looking at her. Isn't that right, you guys? He's looking at her. Okay. All right. Good. All right, let's look at number 2. Is he talking to or about? Good, Ray. Come on, in number 2. Is he talking to in number 2? Número 2. Good. Yeah, he's talking about, right? He's talking about. In this case, he's talking about himself. Isn't that right? Yeah. Right? So in English, if he's talking about himself, what's he going to say? He's going to say I, right? Okay, everybody with me so far? Thumbs up. Everybody needs to be looking at my screen. You may already think you know this in English, but trust me, you don't. Okay, so let's listen. Okay, number 3. Is he talking to her or about her? Number 3, to or about? In number 3, to or about? Is he talking to her or about her? Okay, good. Most of you are telling me about. Okay. How do we know? How do we know he's talking about her? Because he's not looking at her. He's not looking at her. He's talking about her. That's it. Okay. So now let's think about this a second. In number 2, he's talking about himself, right? He's pointing to himself. In number 3, we said he's talking about her. If he's talking about her, let's pretend her name is Susie, right? What's he going to say? Is he going to say, if he's talking about Susie going to the movies or something, right? Or Susie is a student. Susie is a student. You guys, who is a student? Who is a student? How would we replace the word Susie? Susie is a student. Who is a student? Yep. 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 Madison? It's a girl, Susie. Yeah. How would I replace the word Susie? Susie is a student. Who is a student? See what I mean? See how tricky this is? Do I say, who is a student? Who are we talking about? Susie. So you guys, she. Oh. Look at number 3, please. Ethan, you, right? Arshad? Tiana? Look up here. We are talking about people. Okay? So if in number 2, I'm talking about myself, I'm going to say I am a student. Right, Ethan? Yep. In number 3, if he's talking about Susie, Susie is a student. Who's a student? She is a student. She. Okay. So let's go back over here to number 1. This one's a little more complicated. Shamar? Kendall? Malia? Hang on a second, Andrea. Malik? Trayvon? I need y'all looking at my screen. Okay. In number 1, we said he's talking to this woman. If he's talking to her, would he say she? What would he say to her? What if he's asking her whether or not she's a student? What would he say to her? Good, Ethan. Good, Kendall. Good, Belle. Yes. you. If he's talking to her, he's going to say you. So you guys, what we're going to have to do at some point is take this thinking, which we're going to practice a little more in English, and we're going to have to do this in Spanish, where we have to consider masculine and feminine, formal or informal, singular or plural. Are you with me, you guys? It's going to get more complicated. So we need to make sure we have our thought processes here in English first. Okay, let's look at number 4. Once again, look at him. Is he talking to these guys or about them? Tell me in chat, to or about, number 4. To or about? I want to hear from everybody in number 4. Okay, so he's talking to them, right? He's talking to them because I'm sorry, I lie. He's talking about them, right? Because he's not looking at them. He's not looking at them, so he's talking about them. So let's pretend, again, our sentence is Bob and Bill. I don't know, they're 2 guys, right? Bob and Bill are students. Who are students, you guys? Who are they? Who are students? How would I answer that question? Good, Ethan? Yeah. What if I didn't want to replace Bob and Bill? I mean, what if I didn't want to repeat Bob and Bill and I wanted to replace that? I'm talking about them. So Bob and Bill are students. Who are students? They are students. Isn't that right, you guys? They are students. Okay. All right, let's do a few more here. Let's look at number 5. Okay. Is he talking to her or about her? To or about, number 5. Come on, you guys, quick answers. Yep. Yes. So he's talking to her. Okay. He's talking to her. So if he's talking to her, what's he going to say? Is he going to say she? Is he going to say he? What's he going to say? If he's talking to her, Trayvon, he's talking to her. Okay, if he doesn't know her name, what's he going to say to her instead? Yes, he's going to say you. He's going to say you. You're a student. Okay, number 6 is the hardest one of all. So hear me out. Good, Malik. Yes, good, Kendall. So they are talking about themselves. Isn't that right? They're saying, right? So stop a minute and look at something. This is up here, number 2. He was talking about himself, one person, I. Now we're talking about 2 people saying I. So let's say this guy's name is Bob, right? So now it's Bob and I, right? Me and Bob in number 6. So Bob and I are students. Who are students? Yep. We are students. We. Okay, we. Because they're talking about themselves. They're pointing at themselves. They're not pointing at somebody else. They're talking about themselves, right? So if you're a note taker, the plural of I is we. And like I said, this is oftentimes the most difficult one, and we're going to see why later. Okay. So the plural of I is we, because it's Bob and I are going to the store. Bob and I. Who's going to the store? We are. Me and Bob are. Not you guys, just me and Bob. Right? We are. So anytime you see an and I, it's going to be we. Okay? All right. So we're going to switch gears for just a second. Any questions about anything that we just did? Remember, you guys, feedback, feedback, feedback. So on a scale 3, 2, 1, right? We always do 3, 2, 1. 3 was, I get what we just did, the whole to and about thing, and they and I and she. I get it. Number 2, I kind of get it. Number 1, I don't have a clue what you're talking about. 3, 2, 1. Okay. I need to hear from everyone, please. Okay, because we will revisit. You're getting there. Okay, that's great answer. Great answer. Okay. All right. We will come back to that. Okay. So I'm going to open a whiteboard and we're going to do some things in English. Okay. So again, if you're a note person, here we go. And remember, you guys, we're going to have to do this in Spanish where it gets a little more complicated. Okay. So you want to try to make sure you wrap your brain around this first. So I'm going to start like a couple of columns. Okay. And this whiteboard is not the best, but we're going to make do. Okay. And I'm going to put talking about over here. Okay. So if you're taking notes, we got kind of 2 columns, if we're talking to someone or if we're talking about them. Okay. And remember, we're going to do this in English. Okay. So if I'm talking about myself, okay, which we call them subject pronouns. Which subject pronoun would I use if I'm talking about myself in English? I'm going to use I. Isn't that right? I. Okay. If I'm talking to someone in English, one person, what am I going to use? How would I talk to someone in English? Okay, I'm going to use you. Isn't that right? Okay. If I'm talking about someone else in English, what would I use? What if I'm talking about Bob? What would I use to talk about Bob? Okay, I'm going to use he. Isn't that right? Yep. If I'm talking about a girl, if I'm talking about Susie, I'm going to say what? I'm not going to use her because I would never start a sentence with her going to the store. What would I say? Yeah, good. I would say she, right? She's going to the store. Okay. What if I'm talking about the chair is red. The dog is brown. The door is closed. Good, Ray. Good, Shamar. What would I say then? If I'm talking about a door, if I'm talking about a desk, I would say, good. I would say it. It is red. It is closed, right? Okay. So you guys, all of these that we've done so far are singular right? Because I'm one person. He is one person. She is one person, right? And it is one thing. So these are all singular, okay? So in English, you guys, what happens if I'm talking to over here in English more than one person? What do we say? No, if I'm yeah, good Kinsley. If I'm talking to them, I'm talking to them. Yep, Shamar. In other words, how do I make you in English plural? If I'm talking to more than one person, what can I say? Yeah, good, Michaela. Yes. So it all kind of depends on where you come from. We could say you all, you guys, right? Whatever. And that's going to be plural, right? You all, y'all, you guys, depends on what part of the country we come from. Okay. What if I'm thinking plurals now. What if I'm saying, me and Bob are going to the grocery store. Susie and I are going to lunch. Okay. So is that a talking to, or is that a talking about? About. All right. So I'm just going to put here Bob and I. Okay. And Bob and I, sorry, gets replaced with we. And we is going to be plural, right? Because it's more than one person. Okay. And we're talking about ourselves. Okay. All right. What if I'm talking about more than one person in English? What do I say? I remember I don't start a sentence with them go to the store. What do we say? We're talking about other people. We say they, isn't that right? They. Okay, multiple people, right? Multiple people. And I'm talking about them, right? And in English, couldn't it be things too? The doors are red. They are red, right? So it's people and things, actually. Okay. All right. So what we are getting ready to embark on, you guys, is this, but in Spanish, where we have to consider other things, so many other things besides whether we're talking to or about, or whether we're talking to one person or more than one person. Okay. Now, why does it matter? Well, let me give you an example in English, right? I can say, for example, I run fast. I run fast. Okay. But if I want to say he runs fast, right? Look what happens. Right? What happens is, you guys, that our verb changes. Okay. Here's another example, and I could give you a million of them, right? I won't. But let's just say she sings well. She sings well. Versus they sing well. Okay. So what happened again, you guys? She becomes sings, but they is sing. I run fast, he runs fast. She sings well, they sing well. We already know that. We know that because we hear English all the time. We know it has to change. Okay, well, guess what? We have to figure out in Spanish, right, how we're going to spell our verb, because it's going to have to match with I or he. It's going to have to match with whoever is doing the action. And that's why knowing how to do these subject pronouns, we're calling them, right, or personal pronouns, whichever, majorly important, because if we don't know these, we can't figure out the right verb to use. Okay. All right. Questions so far? Okay, I'm going to pause. I'm going to give you guys a little brain break for a minute. Okay. And maybe think of some questions. If you have a question or something that was confusing, then let me know. Okay. All right, brain break is over. Okay, so here we go. Let's add a little bit to our notes, okay? So let's say that our sentence looks like let's say Bob is Bob has, you guys, what does Bob have? Bob has, I can't think of a sentence. Bob has, let me think of a sentence. Bob has a new house. Let's just do that. Bob has a new house. So how do I figure out, you guys, what I want to do is I want to replace the word Bob. Okay. And so how would I replace this word Bob? Which one of these would I choose? Tell me in chat. Good, Tiana. Good. Yes. So I would say, yes. Very good, you guys. I would say he has a new house. Right? Okay. Let's try another one. You guys are good. Let's do Susie and I are going to the store. Okay, Susie and I are going to the store. I need to replace, stop. I need a pencil. Okay, Susie and I. So who's going to the store? Tell me in chat. Good, Ray. Who's going to the store? Susie and I. Susie and I. I'm including myself. I'm including myself. I'm including myself. Yeah, good, Malia. I need to hear from everyone. Remember, IDK. Yes, Kendall. Yes, absolutely. So, you guys, Susie and I, we are going to the store. Ugh. Okay. So why is it we? What makes, who's included, you guys, when we talk about we? We have to know this in English, right? Who's included if we're talking about we? Yeah, me and somebody else, right? Who is included in we? Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, when we're talking, right? It's me and other people, right? Because it could be multiple other people, not just one other person, right? So here's our clue. Listen carefully. And if you're taking notes like you're supposed to be, this is ginormous. So put it in capital letters somewhere, okay? Anytime you see the words in any language, and I, right? Or and me, it is always going to be replaced with we. And that is huge. You guys, it is huge. Okay. It's plural, right? If I'm saying we are going, Bob and I are going to the movies. Who's going to the movies? We are going to the movies, right? Okay. So this right here, please make sure you have this written down, and we will practice this forever in a blue moon. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, any questions about what we just talked about today? I know it's not, I know it's boring, yeah? And I know that it's not fun. Okay, but it's what we have to do, okay? All right, so before we transition, I'm going to put a sentence in English on the whiteboard, and you all are going to replace the people, just like we've been doing, with a pronoun. And I need you to be as specific as possible. Okay. All right. So give me a minute. Where's that whiteboard? Okay. Okay. This is kind of a comprehension check, right, you guys? I'll do let me do blue. I hope y'all can see blue. Okay. All right. Okay. If I wanted to, can y'all see my sentence? You, Bob, and Susie are funny. So if I want to get rid of the people and I want to replace them with a pronoun, right? Which pronoun would I use? You, Bob, and Susie are funny. Tell me in chat. You, Bob, and Susie are funny. If I want to get rid of you, Bob, and Susie, what would I replace it with? Good. Good. You guys are good. Yay. Ooh, careful, Tiana. You, Bob, and Susie. So am I talking to them? Excuse me. Or am I talking about them? Okay. So what would your answer be? Well, I'm saying you. I'm saying you. Remember, there's that you in there. Bob, Susie, and you. I mean, we could write it that way. Either way, right? Bob, Susie, and you are funny. If that helps. Are you including yourself? Remember, we is only when you're including yourself. Good, Kendall. Okay, so let's look. Let's figure it out, you guys, because we're going to have to do this in Spanish. Okay. So if I want to, you guys, get rid of Bob, Susie, and you. First of all, my question is, that's obviously more than one person. Isn't that right? So I need to be thinking about plural. So my plural options are this one and these over here. So then the question becomes, am I talking to or am I talking about? Well, I'm only talking to them. I mean, I'm only talking, I would only say we if I'm including myself, which I am not. There's no I in here. And I can't, if I'm using you, then I'm not talking about them. Because I'm obviously talking to somebody if I'm saying you, right? So my only option, you guys, is going to be you plural. Right? So if I have a you in here, it's going to be you plural. So it'd be you all are funny. Right? You all are funny. Now, in English, do we always have to say the word all? No. Right? So you are funny, but we're talking about plural. You all are funny. Yay, you guys did a good job. So see, we're going to have to figure that out in Spanish, and we're going to have to add masculine and feminine on top of it. Okay? So that's where we're headed with this. Okay? All right. The last thing that I want us to do, that gives us about 20 minutes, you guys. And tomorrow is progress reports. There are several of you that have several missing assignments. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to make sure that I can see your screen in GoGuardian. I'm going to ask everybody to go to grades in Canvas. Make sure I can see your GoGuardian screen. Please go to grades in Canvas. Arshad, Madison, Elijah, Ethan, Jamarian, Kinsley, for whatever reason, it says you're offline. Same with you, Nevaeh. Michaela, Troy. Let's all go to Canvas and go to grades. Ethan. Progress reports are tomorrow. I want to give you guys some time in class to access anything that you're missing so that if you have a question, you can ask me. I'll be happy to help you. Before you get out of here today, you need to complete at least one missing assignment. If you have one missing assignment, or if there's something that you want to redo. Okay, everybody clear about what we're doing? Well, you should, Trayvon. I don't know if your teachers are going to allow you to do it during class. But you guys need to, if not, you need to spend this afternoon catching up in every class, right? I'm trying to give you some time to do this now so you can ask me questions since it's not in English. We have not done anything in VHL, so there's no worries there. Everything should just be straight even in the modules. Check your grades. Kinsley, I still can't get you in on Go Guardian. Okay. Thanks, Madison. Also, don't forget, you guys, we have a quiz on Thursday on familia. So if nothing else, you could be looking at your slides right now. Go to the resource library. If you're all caught up on all of your work, you can go over that vocabulary. Remember, the first part is definition. What do they mean? The second part was you typing in the word. Okay. So if you're all caught up, you can be studying for your quiz on Thursday, looking at the words on La Familia. There are several of you that are missing like 3 assignments. Go to grades, see what you're missing. A lot of you guys are missing that infographic reading. I would suggest you start there, and that way, if I can help you. Jamarian, can you check the chat? Are you still in class? Yeah, here you are. Can you check the chat, please? A lot of you guys are missing that infographic. Now would be the time. What? Hmm. Is it doing searches based on my voice? Hey, guys need to be checking out that infographic assignment so I can help you. Hey, you guys check the chat, please. Hey, check the chat, please. Let me know if you guys need help with that infographic reading. Don't wait for the very last minute tonight at 11 o'clock because I'm not going to be grading at 11 o'clock at night. Okay. Remember that Canvas syncs in the evenings. So you need to get these done by, 6 o'clock or whatever. No questions on the infographic. You guys should be working on that. You have 10 minutes and I'm here to help you. That's why we're doing it in class. I still need to see your family tree in Spanish for some of you. All you had to go back in and do was relabel your family tree, which is a good way to practice for your quiz on Thursday. So if you guys are looking at your percentage of your grade, And you're going, oh, that's not too bad. Remember that all of those dashes are going to turn into zeros, right? Okay. So you need to make sure that's not going to be your grade, right? Those dashes turn into zeros. Okay, Madison. So if you're thinking, oh, I can live with the 7D at progress reports, well, when all those things turn into zero, it's not going to be 70 anymore. So nobody has a question on completing the infographic. Okay. Okay. I see people working on periodic tables. Bernadette, yay. I see, people checking grades and then they're not checking grades anymore. You could be practicing for your quiz on Thursday. Ethan, are you working on something in Spanish? Yes, because I have to have time to grade them. I'm in a faculty meeting until 6:30 this evening. Yep. So I wanted to give you guys time in class so you could ask me questions. Okay, unless you're caught up in Spanish, which many of you are not, you should be working on Spanish right now, especially that infographic, so I can help you. Just pop your questions in the chat. Or you could be studying for your quiz on Thursday. You doing all right with that, Bernadette? Let me know if you get stuck. Let's see. Yes, so it says find the Spanish word or phrase that best expresses the meaning, right? The meaning. So basically you're trying to find like cognates using the images as clues, right? Finding the word for families, finding the word for father, finding the word for, right? You're looking for those words. Based on context and based on the images. Okay, Bernadette, does that make sense? Like in that page right there, see where it says 80%? There's that little orange banner that says right here, Las Familias. So like that would be the word you would type in for families. Okay. Okay, guys, that's all we have time for today. Please make sure that you're caught up by this evening. Okay. Adios. Have a great day. Don't forget your quiz on Thursday. Adios. Adios.
Adiós, buenos días.
Adios. Buenos dias.